Hearing you paint this picture of how complicated, how wide, and how deep AI can go into an organizational ecosystem makes me wonder, what impact does that have on how we manage employee performance? Because the future of workforce is hybrid, but I think it's a new definition of hybrid. I think the future of workforce is going to be humans, machines, and AI agents or autonomous decision making systems. This AI integration into organization is not like introducing an ERP system, right? It's not like
Right.
I used to write handwritten mail. Now I'm using email.
Yeah, correct.
But AI fundamentally changes how we operate, what work we do, and even how organizations are structured. So how do you manage performance in this kind of an ecosystem?
Look, nobody likes to be told how it is they're doing because there's we all have our foibles, we all have our weaknesses, and none of us are perfect. And nobody likes to hear about that, especially in a work context. One is the traditional format was always ever, let's do this once a year because nobody likes it, so we'll just do it once and be over with it. And of course, that presents its own challenges and problems, deep problems, in that there are something like 10 different cognitive biases that basically can come to play inside a manager's mind, and inside the mind of the employee trying to write their own self-assessment, as an example. And you end up with a bunch of gobbledygook data, from poor memory. Things weren't written down, things weren't kind of captured in real time. And so you have a lot of fallibility in terms of that whole process, and it's just useless. So that, in my view, should be thrown straight out. I think there's still room for cycles, annual and probably semi-annual. Eventually with AI, it will become personalized. And so kind of work on an individual schedule and not just on sort of like regular corporate cycles. But performance should be an ongoing, kind of flow of information. There should be systems out there, and there are loads that basically are continuously feeding you insight into how you're doing, your skill set, skill gaps that you're working on, the learning and development you're undertaking, the new projects that you're getting yourself into, the stretch targets that you're looking to achieve, feedback from peers, from subordinates, and from, managers or kind of project leaders and things of that nature, team leaders. There are all sorts of tools now that can basically kind of capture all of that and then aggregate that. And then AI basically looks at that stuff and says, oh, interesting. Okay, so on balance, this is what I'm seeing in terms of the overall picture. And you can deep dive into any aspect of it if you disagree or you're confused as to why it said that. The tools are getting a lot smarter now, but literally it was only up until like last year before these tools started kind of taking the next leap.